Welcome to DFG Gaming. This is Belay, and today we're going to take a look at the Stackable Rack controller holder, and hopefully have a way to keep all these controllers in one place without taking up too much space and being very convenient to get to when I want them, but out of the way when I don't. So let's take a look at Thingiverse and see what this thing looks like. So here's the Stackable Controller Holder Rack on Thingiverse from the user concavechest. Kudos on the design. The design is a pretty good design in my opinion. As we can see, it's in several collections. A few people have made it, and it's made up of 4 parts. Scroll back over so you guys can actually see it. The stackable rack, the support, the base, and the top. So as you can see down here, he gives a short description saying that this will work with PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, Wii U Pro, Xbox 360, and Steam controllers, and that it should work with Xbox One controllers. I can verify PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, and Steam controllers, all 3 work fine. And from looking at pictures, the Xbox One controller is not that much different dimensionally from the 360 controller, so it should work fine there too. So down here we have the instructions on how to print it. Whoops, and I highlighted too much. And you can see no supports, 15% infill, 2 shell layers. So, and then he comes down here and explains on how to make it stackable so that you know how many supports you need, pieces you need to print, depending on how high you want to stack it. So we would come over here and download all these files, the STLs, and let's go to Simplify 3D and open those up. Alright, so let's open up Simplify 3D and import our first part that we're going to try to print, the stackable rack. This will be the part that actually holds your controller. As you can see, it does import more or less on its, what I'm going to call its backside. Personally, since I have a heated bed, I like to print everything with whatever's going to be touching the desk, down, touching the bed. That way, it's always flat and really smooth. So what we're going to do is we're going to come in here and we're going to rotate the x-axis by -90 degrees and center and arrange, and that will put us on how we're going to print it. So that will put the flattest part on our bed so that we can print that out without any problems. As you can see back here, this backside does have a little bit of a curve here, so that would cause some issues in printing, but you probably want to rotate it like this just to avoid that. Now, for me also, this is just a personal preference. I don't like to print forwards and back like this. I like to print side to side. So I'm going to rotate the x-axis 90 degrees, and that's how I'm going to print this one. So that's the orientation. So when it prints, it'll print basically like that. And according to the designer, there's no supports needed. I've already printed this part. It requires no supports, which is a huge bonus in my opinion. I mean, any designer out there who can design something like this and, you know, say it needs no supports whatsoever is doing a good job. So let's take a look at what we have over here for our processes. And so what we're going to do is we're going to print this at 0.2 millimeter layer height. And we're going to print, I like to do the top 3 and the the top 3 layers and the bottom 3 layers as solid. This way you always have a clean finish on the bottom and a clean finish on the top. No real, exposing the infill and the inner workings and stuff. So I like to do 2 shells. Let's see. So the infill, you can already see from the meter up here, I've got it set to 20%. The designer actually says 15%. Me, I'm trying to make it hold 3 controllers, so it's going to be 3 controllers tall. I figure that I want a little extra strength in it, so I've upped it to 20. Personally, I wouldn't go any higher than 20, and honestly, 15 will probably do just fine. It's just another one of those personal preferences of mine that I wanted to go 20, but that may have been excess. It may not have even made a difference between 15 and 20. But I would go at least 15, but no higher than 20. And that should be just about that. Yeah. So let's take a look at how long it's going to take to print this. So prepare to print. Boop, boop, ba-doo. And we get 4 hours and 18 minutes. Now, my printer takes a little bit longer than what Simplify 3D estimates. I don't know why the two can't agree, but they never have. So, for me to print this part took about 5.5 hours. And, yours will probably do, depending on, you learn how your software estimates with your printer. So, you'll be able to figure out, what it estimates, how long will it actually take you. But, overall, still not that long to print in the grand scheme of things when you consider prints. So, let's go ahead and take a look at that being printed. The second biggest part of this is the support piece. So let's go ahead and import that into Simplify 3D. Rack support. Okay, so as you can see, it comes in more or less on the back side as well. Now, printing like this one, I'm going to say printing it like this will probably cause some people some problems because of this little nubbin right here. That little nubbin will probably cause issues. So what you want to do, just like we did before, we want to come in here. We want to rotate the x-axis. I think this time we want to go, nope, wrong way. That's not, there we go, -90 again. Alright, so we center and arrange, and now as you see, we've got the flattest edge on our print bed. So now our nubbins are printed, from the bottom up, so that way they won't cause any problems with overhang or anything like that. And won't cause us to have to put supports or anything. So now, the way I did this one, well, it's first, I just did the same settings as I did before. 0.2 millimeters layer height, 20% infill, 3 solid layers on the top, 3 solid layers on the bottom, 2 perimeter layers. So let's take a look at what it takes to print just one. Prepare to print. Okay, mine is saying 3 hours and 3 minutes. I'm pretty sure mine took about 4 hours to actually print this piece. But I want to show you what I did for the last layer, and this is the one that I did before, the one I've actually got footage of. Instead of printing just one because I needed 2 supports for the hold the third controller up, what I did was I printed both of them at the same time. This is very easy to do. You just basically repeat the process again, -90, bam, and center and arrange. This printed fine with no problems, as you'll see in the video. I would advise if you're printing, if you need multiple racks or multiple of the supports for a certain layer of your controller rack, that you should do them at the same, do 2 of them at the same time. It'll save you time. It'll just be easier on you. So let's see how long it takes to do those. All right, mine is now saying 4 hours and 23 minutes. I think it took a little bit longer than that. I think it took like 5 hours for me to print both of them. But as you can see from right there, there's the nubbins. They're all pointed up. The flattest are on the bottom, and should be okay. So let's cut to the footage of that real quick, and we'll be back in a second. last two pieces of this, we have the base and the top. So let's import both of them. There's the base, there's the top. Okay, so wait a minute, let me remove the top real quick so I can just show you the base. Alright, so the base is going to come in like this, and as you can figure, we can't print like that. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to rotate it on the x-axis. Let's just go -90 right off the bat. There we go. Center and arrange. Alright, so that's going to be the base piece. This is, if I remember right, the designer said this is basically just to provide support, stability. If you're going higher than just one, maybe too high, then you need to print this off and use it so that way it just adds stability. So let's go ahead and import the top piece. The top piece, as far as I can tell so far, is just cosmetic. So you can, it's just there to be there. So let me move this out of the way just a minute. Just move that over there for right now, and I'll put it back on the bed in a minute. So now this piece is the top piece. As you can see, it's kind of a weird angle here for the import. We can't really print it like that, I don't believe. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to take the X, and I don't remember the actual angle. Let's try 45. Nope. 90. 120. Hold up. Oh, okay. It's centered and arranged there. Okay. So still not quite there yet. It's rotated on. Basically what I'm trying to do is get that one. There we go. So now when I center and arrange there, now you can see that we're setting it on the what I'm gonna call the front of the piece, since that's the flattest piece on the bed. So that will hold that right there and allow that to be printed. These two pieces I would probably print together. I didn't at the time. I thought it might be better to do one at a time, but in hindsight I should have done them both at the same time. So let's take a look at what it takes to print them both at the same time here. And basically same settings, 0.2 millimeters, 20% infill. Let's see what we got here. Okay, to print these two pieces will take 2 hours and 4 minutes. So it'll take 2 hours and 4 minutes to print both of those at the same time. Unfortunately, since I did them one at a time, the footage for the top piece did not come out, and I'm not even going to include it in the video because it was terrible. The base piece, however, I did get footage for that. So my apologies, I'll try to do better next time, but for the time being, let's cut to the base footage and see what y'all think. Okay, so now that we've got all of our parts printed, what we have is we have one base, we have one top, 3 stackable racks, and 3 supports. This is my setup for doing 3 controllers. So basically, when they came out of the printer, there was very little cleanup. I probably cleaned up all 8 pieces in probably 5 to 10 minutes. There was very little cleanup needed. It's all designed really well and really strong. I mean, the parts here, they're really stout. They're not going to be easily broken. So now you're just up to the assembly. So basically all we would do to get the 3 controller stack assembled would just be put the first one on the base, grab your support, put it behind. It all just locks together real easy like. Then come up from that one, put your next stack, and then go under those 2, just like you did for the first one. Click in the support, and I jumped the gun on this one because we have to slide. You have to do the support first before you do the next stackable rack. So where's them holes at? Well, if I can find the hole here, there we go. All right, and then you put your then you put your rack part, and then we put the last rack up here. Right like that. Put the top on the top rack so that it's just basically it's an aesthetic thing from what I can gather. Makes it look nice and finished, And then that's how your rack will look with all 3 assembled. And then you just put your controllers like so. And you've got them all three mounted. As you can see, well, let me move my keyboard back here just a little bit. As you can see, as far as the width goes, it's not very wide. So it easily doesn't take up a whole lot of room there. And the long ways, I mean, it can get longer. And I mean, the more controllers you put up, the longer it's going to be. But it's really narrow. So really, I just set it beside my monitors and I never have to worry about it. So basically, once I set it beside my monitor, it's there. You can easily pull them in and out anytime you want them. And that pretty much takes care of it. So overall, what would I say about this controller rack? I would say it's an excellent design. If you have a 3D printer and you have console controllers, whether it be using for PC or console, you need to print this rack out. If you don't have a 3D printer, find someone who has one and get them to print it for you. I would almost go as far as saying that this is worth going to like Shapeaways or some site like that that offers a 3D printing service and actually paying them to print it out for you. One thing to note that I will say is that while, well, you can see right there, it is a little, I mean, it does give a little bit. So you may want to glue everything together if you've got everything set up and you know you're never going to change it. But as far as being top heavy, it's really not. Like, you can move the desk and there's no problem. So I would say 3 high is about as high as I would go. After this, I'd probably start a new rack and just set them side by side or on opposite sides of your monitors, however you want to do it. But overall, excellent design. Kudos to the designer, Concave Chest. This is an excellent design, man. You knocked it out of the park. This has been Belay with DFG Gaming. Hope you guys have a good one.